It's on the back of it.
They don't adjust annually, correct?
They don't adjust annually. These are fixed.
Okay.
That's what you asked me, right?
Yeah, I was just making sure that they didn't relook at the the Treasury CMT once a year and adjust the rates.
You guys are live.
It's based on the day that we lock in. Get
I'm
locked.
very
Got it.
fortunate. We've never.
Those are kind of better than I expected. I don't know what
Me
I was
too.
expecting.
Well, I was gonna just tell Scott I don't have internet, but now I do.
We were,
Oh, it's way better than I thought it was gonna be.
I expected.
we're back to where.
High 60%.
Yeah. All right. We will bring our budget hearing session back into order. Carolyn gave everyone a sheet
Thank you.
to help us with our funds.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
So that way, when I'm constantly going, wait, what fund? It's all right here. And then explain what's in our folders, Carolyn.
There's a 2026 cumulative budget with today's date at the end. That's the entire budget that's in the system. Then there's also one just for county general as well. So those are the two updated with changes.
So the cumulative is everybody and the other one is with the number at the end, is that, which one is the county general only? The one with the date at the end?
They both have the date at the end.
Says general.
There's 2026 county general cumulative budget.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, there's a third one that just says cumulative, so that's what I was looking at. Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome.
How do we want to start? Do we want to start with salaries, with people additions?
Finish up, yeah, if you want to finish it yesterday afternoon.
Yeah, and Pia, is there any updates on our running tab? I just opened the cumulative, like where do we stand in terms of over, under? Based on.
Hold
No
on.
presentations today.
Let me share my screen.
Day the 20th,
Yes,
what's our timetable? She's won't be done by 3 o'clock.
Why don't you ask Carl to sit in the front so that he can speak if he needs to speak?
hey Carl. George had a good idea. You can sit at the table in case we actually want to.
Do what?
You can sit up at the table so that way you have the microphone. So when we ask, whenever you talk to us.
We're gonna talk to you, so just. be aware.
Just come on up.
We'll be back. Oh, I won't.
So I'm not sharing my screen. This is in your file. And what I have in front of you is the general fund tab. And so this is updated as of what we discussed yesterday. On the top, as we discussed yesterday, local income tax number that changed based on DOTF, 700,000 earnings on investments. We talked about that yesterday. Sheriff commissary changes, because he had those little, changes that he had. So those are reflected in here. The confusion with the commissioner's fuel, we changed that 40,000 that we took out of that line item, but added back into other, just so that it wasn't confusing. They didn't really add anything.
It's a wash.
We took out $1 million of the community crossing money. I did add the line item below so that it shows that the salt barn is out. So it shows that
Echo for a second.
oh, it's because the damn things. The emergency management, the group insurance that we knew, that was something that we took out yesterday. Because she hired somebody that needed just single coverage,
Oh,
not
okay.
the family coverage. The jail, there were some changes there because of the lit change and with some of the changes that they made on their budget slightly.
How about the
The parks, we
utility?
taken that out of general fund, we're gonna pay for it somewhere else. The council consulting, the 950,000, we took that out and added in the stipend for the auditor.
How do you deal with the utilities jail?
That's in the jail.
In the county general
It's in the
increase.
jail, so that came over in the 81,000 increase.
Okay,
So what I've done now is I'm looking at the jail tab that's in this file. So I added in 61,000 for utilities. And so that was what part of the 81,000 that comes over the general fund.
The other, utilities is the commissions, did we adjust their utilities also?
No, I think they'd already made an adjustment.
Pardon me?
They'd already made the adjustment.
Oh, okay.
Any questions, Pia?
And the salary is still at 2%?
Yes.
So it did, two things.
Yep.
We had discussions further in Carl's here then, when, were we discussing to take that other million out? We took the one, take the other one out.
We took the one out because Danny thought we'd still get one from the community crossings.
Is that what we talked about
Yep.
yesterday? I'm trying to remember.
Yep. Danny thought we would still potentially get 1 million
Okay,
when we normally get 1.5.
all right. And then the 290 on Rich's was, we were gonna take it to Riverboat.
We haven't decided. We just took it out of ours. We're gonna see if the commissioners had any room to take it and seat it.
Okay, I just
Are
couldn't
you
remember.
aware
While
of
he was
that?
here, I know there was a discussion both ways, trying to figure that out.
Carl? The
Well-
Heflin Park sewage,
Yeah, I've heard that.
if we take it out, do you have money in seated? Do we need to find another fund to fund the Heflin? That's not the general fund? What's your perspective?
Put it seated.
Okay, thank you.
Sounds good.
Perfect. Okay. We had 2 items. What, cover the 2 items?
Let me think a second.
Oh,
I was trying to catch, oh no, the last thing was we were at a lengthy discussion at the end of the day yesterday on the youth care workers on the certain word Kim called it, the pool type
The
thing.
floaters?
But it ended up being, the equal pay ended up being the $21,000 and change.
Yeah.
After understanding that more, when Nikki came in, I'm in full agreement with that, but it took a while to understand the logic behind it and doing the cross training and everything else. So I don't know if we ended up agreeing to move forward or not on
I
that.
thought we
yesterday.
did.
Yeah, we kept that in, right?
Yes.
Okay,
So are we in agreement to leave it in there?
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
correct. But cut 2 headcount, so it's down to 12 youth
Right.
care workers.
And now those are taken out and reflected on what Pia's got now.
Okay, perfect.
No, they're not.
I didn't think so. I don't think the head cut's out.
No, I don't
Count
think it's
is not
out. So
out?
I was looking
So what-
for it.
We need to take that
We
out.
had it estimated at 72,000, what you said.
No, we did it at 97, but with the raise.
Oh,
You have it on
okay.
your sheet.
Yeah, in the Excel spreadsheets, if you look at the notes, those changes were made there before Pia could get those into her spreadsheet. I got with Daleen on the PERF, the social security.
The cumulative? You changed it in the cumulative or you changed it in the summary?
All changes are in either one. If you're looking at county general and you just care about county general, if you want to see the entire thing,
Right.
look at Q.
But it's not in my summary spreadsheet that I'm
Right.
showing. them.
Correct.
Right.
So what is that delta?
The
From
change.
what they requested, what is that change?
You saying 97,000?
Yeah, let me figure that because it's 50.
Can I hear that on a microphone?
What
The
now?
youth care workers changed to, it changed from 716,985 to 614,559.
We figured about
So what is that difference?
like 102,000.
For 2 headcount? Yeah,
Because of the benefit
yeah.
side of it.
Got it.
102,426.
102,4.
26.
Perfect.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
That's cleaned up. Then the other thing, where did we land?
Did we also increase the other youth care workers to over 2% as we had, or are we taking that out?
No, we're giving them
We're
that
leaving that
5% where they,
4.97,
yeah,
whatever.
whatever that was.
4.99.
Yeah. So that way they're even with the community correction
Okay.
adult
All right,
for the 12 remaining.
Then,
okay.
uh,
And then their shift differential increase, that's gonna remain also?
Yes.
Okay.
Then the other thing we discussed, we'll make sure we were catching up with the request by the commissioners on the closing at 4. The changed hours of those employees. What did we do? I don't remember.
We were in consensus that if that's what the commissioners want to do now, Carl, one thing that was brought to my attention is you guys sort of shut off the key cards for access to the employees at 4, but some of our employees that like are out and about doing business then can't get back into their office after 4. Is there any way they can have flexibility with access until 5, even if the building's closed at 4? Or is that like an insurance rule? Because that was someone texted me and they're like, there's one red flag here for people who don't always perform their services inside of a county building.
Well, I think we've got employees that need that access after 4 will have it.
Okay, perfect. So I think talk to department heads to make sure any of their
Yes.
employees that need access until 5, so that way
That'll-
if they have
that'll
travel
be-
time,
It'll be activated for them, yes.
Now,
beautiful, perfect.
They may just need to request it, because I
Yeah.
think there's a misunderstanding.
The other
Yeah.
thing that we talked about in this issue was that there could be some flexibility that even though the building, I don't wanna say this.
Building closes at 4, if someone
Closed
wants
to
to
the
work 9 to 5,
Right,
it's at the discretion of the department head.
correct.
And I think again, they can work through the commissioners and Scott to make sure those access, if someone wants to offer flexibility.
But, okay, but that would be a mess from a security point of view because
They just put their key
if you
code
go
cards
one day, I
in.
mean, you would have to change people. They would have to tell you that they're gonna be working until 5 o'clock and so they have to have access from 4 to 5. right?
When I use my fob after hours, it shows up that it was Carl Lennon that used that fob, okay? So between Rick Trippy and Scott, they can tell who's coming in and who's going
Perfect.
really quick.
And we can build policies and groups around certain departments that, will
Perfect.
provide whatever they need, what accesses they need. Yeah.
So even if they don't work every day till 5, they can still be like, okay, we're gonna give them access to 5 just to make everyone's life easier. And if they're abusing it, Scott and
Yeah, there was the other concern that I think Mike was bringing out, and that was accessibility to the public in certain departments. I don't remember how we came up with that.
There was one that I know, I guess I think me looking at it, because I talked to another office holder, would adjust for those hours with staff, it could be done. This is the hours of operation that they got the buildings open, but I think that coordination needs to be done with the commissioners and those offices.
So technically, then Mark, and correct me if I'm wrong, if, based on what you're saying, the building will be open from 8 to 5
I
then,
think that,
to allow anybody to come in after 4 o'clock who needs to do business with somebody in somebody's office.
if there's a one-off, if the sheriff wants to have somebody at the front desk till 6, split their time, I don't want to micromanage those offices, but that's where it's a little confusing for me.
Right.
It's a
Well,
one,
it is to me too, that's why I'm bringing it up. I don't remember exactly where we came up with that.
I mean, my concern was about, serving the public. And if the.
And how many counties are doing 4 o'clock?
There will be, I'm sure, a little bit of, I hate to use the word growing pains, but,
Confusion.
Larry made the comment the other day, and I've done the same thing. I've went to Jennings County before at, 4:15 to pay my property taxes, and they're locked up. I think there's only 2 or 3 counties in the state that are open till 5 o'clock.
Yeah.
Everybody else is open till 4.
And I appreciate that. But my concern is that if Bartholomew County is twice as big as Jennings County, they've got 10 people going between 4 and 5, that means we got 20 people going between 4 and 5.
I understand.
Right, so
Yeah.
it is, this would take quite a bit of I think you should notify people, the public.
We'll have to do some advertising,
Mhm.
but the public officials, our elected people in this building tell us there is very little business that occurs in this building after 4 o'clock.
How is the city dealing with this? Is the city closes at 4 also?
They used to have summer hours,
Yeah.
Yes, they did.
that they would close early during the summer, but they'd be open earlier during the summer.
City was 7 to 4 in the summer, 8 to 5 in the winter, and I don't know what months they called summer, but
I know that the treasurer's office has the drop box, so if you want to make a payment, if you've dropped it and they get it the next day, it's counted on time or on the due date, as long as you have your coupon and a checkbook. Yeah, do you know, or does anyone know, do other departments have other means of putting in a request or something like that, if you needed a copy of a birth certificate from the health department, et cetera? Do they allow online requests? Scott's saying yes. Thank you, Scott. Maybe I was. So there are other means for them to put in requests other than just in person.
Well, and I think as we go forward, that, leaning into technology, leaning into our updated website,
Yeah.
having more things available, electronically at 24/7. I mean, Barb's got a big sign up that says, you're always first in line when you pay online.
Yeah.
So,
Is that wrong?
I guess with the recorder's office doing their project of, scanning everything in, digitizing everything from a historical process, and they've started recent and going backwards.
Correct.
well, and just like
There's a
in
big
my
one.
office, we don't have mortgage exemptions anymore. Thank goodness. So that shut down a lot of our traffic. Homestead exemptions are done pretty automatically for the most part when transaction, when you sell a house or when you buy a house. So the amount of foot traffic we have is less. Now, what you do have is veterans that come in, over 65, some of those individuals, but again, it's just educating the public that don't come flying in here at 4:05 and think you're gonna get anything to happen.
And I think most mortgage recordings are done electronically now, correct? Through the
We don't
title?
have those anymore. Oh, mortgage
Mortgage
recording.
recordings.
Yeah,
we do.
mortgage
Yeah,
recordings.
or
are, yeah.
deeds. I mean, I think they're all done pretty much electronically.
So basically, we have consensus on the council to do the 8 to 4, correct?
Yeah, we don't have any objection. And just, the city is open 8 to 5. I think that's fine, but
Okay.
people are asking, they're open 8 to 5, but they do have summer hours of 7 to 4.
This is
I don't think
Tammy.
it's a problem as long as we're flexible. Oh, someone was trying to talk.
I'm sorry, this is Tammy,
Hi, Tammy.
up in the recorder's office. Hi guys. We do a lot of our recordings nowadays online, but we do still have people that come in even later in the day doing land transfers if they're, changing a deed or selling their property, quit claim deed or something like that. We still have some foot traffic, but the majority of it is online these days or by mail.
Okay.
Was that your question?
Yes.
What's
The
will of-
project that we're doing for everything current day is online the very next day. And then we're going back historically to the older documents, and we're back to 1940s doing that. So all those documents are available online, which has really helped searchers. So, okay.
I personally had some
Thank you,
misgivings and
Tammy.
some questions, but I feel comfortable going 8 to 5.
It looks like around the room, everybody's nodding. It looks like we got a consensus
No one's
to
got
do that.
objection. All right.
One other house cleaning thing I think we talked about, and I'd like to finalize it then, but I might as well go ahead and breach it at 7. I know several of us, after our hours yesterday, at different times, spoke to each other about what the department heads did and our request beginning this year's budget process for 2026. We asked them to come in with a lean budget and also try to keep it at a 2% raise for our employees. and let us delve into this with all the moving parts that we had facing us and the challenges in 2026 and 27. We also asked our department heads during the process this year to look ahead and keep us abreast on changing larger requests from the commissioners to the sheriff and additional employees. And like I said, with the moving parts, with the wheel tax and the Senate Bill 1, and everything that's going to happen next year and the year or two after that. And clearly we're looking forward of our funding, and PIA's done a great job of keeping us abreast on the CEDAP money, what's in the county general, and also what we have in our rainy day fund. And personally, over the last 10 years, I witnessed this council, we've been very frugal. We've watched, but we've done more planning in the future this session than we ever in the past. And with that, we reflected, and also the challenges we gave to our office holders and department heads was to have that lean budget and help us through this process. And we hope we could give it 2%. And what I talked to several people, we can discuss this later once we update our amount that we had to trim for the budget. And I'd like to open a little bit of discussion of changing that 2% to 3% for employees, because knowing full well what we're facing in 2027, I think at that time, there'll be a lot of brakes put on some of our spending because of personnel changes and additional people we need from the prosecutor's office to the sheriff's office and other office holders that we're foreseeing now that we may not be able to. But at the end of the day, when we PIA finalize the numbers, I think we may have enough to change 2% to 3% to reward our employees, because that's not even getting them to a cost of living adjustment. And I threw that, and I talked to a lot of the individual, and everybody was kind of seemed receptive to that. So I wanted to bring it forefront to that.
Let me add something else to what you're saying, Mark, and that is, we have tried to stay equal to, at least minimum equal to, if not better than what the city is doing. The city is giving a 3%. And when you consider the fact that if we do a 2% and the benefits, the medical piece is gonna go up 2%, we're basically not doing that much great. So by doing the 3%, we'll be doing something better for employees. And when you consider the fact, we, the county, does not produce any gadgets. What we produce is service. And the service, in order to have good service, we have to have good employees. So our biggest asset, as you all well aware, is our employees. So I would highly recommend that we go ahead with a 3% rather than a 2%.
And Marcus, the COLA projection right now is 2.6. So cost of living would be around 2.6.
Thank you.
I would also add that in the 15 years that I have been in the county council, when I first started working here, we had roughly around 390 some employees. We have roughly 500. We have increased our employees about 100 people roughly. I'm going rough numbers. No matter how careful we have been through those 15 years, we have increased our payroll by 100 people.
I don't agree with that.
Well, I have found the data, Pia.
Okay.
Okay,
I didn't understand what were
I
you
still
refuting?
find that hard to believe.
well,
What are you refuting?
check the
The-
data.
the
Go-
number of
go back and check the
employees.
data. If I'm wrong,
Yeah,
I
we haven't
stand
added
corrected.
100 employees.
Okay, check the data. If I'm wrong, I stand corrected, but I have.
Well, I'd love to see your data.
Pardon me?
I'd love to see your data because.
Well, I went back and looked at
I've
my.
been
file.
here
Really, I'd like to talk back to the topic about our current employees, that I think they deserve that 3%. And Carl, I'd love to hear what you got. You were waving that hand.
All I want to ask is just, now I'm John Q. Citizen, what does 1% in salaries amount to roughly?
145 maybe,
What,
not roughly.
So what is our number right now, Pia, on what we have?
Well, I guess, yeah,
This is 2%.
No. I want to know how much
2%,
money we have available. not
2%
to
is how much?
How much
The amount that we have available, not to budget, is 600,000.
Yeah, so we're gonna just start increasing that, and our goal is to keep that as closer to zero as we can.
yeah,
I don't support it. 2% is reasonable. And, we've been trying to do all that cuts and we need to do that. When you talk about 2% in healthcare, this happens in the school corporation, but that's a smaller amount than what you're getting paid because your insurance isn't as high as what you're getting paid for most people. So that happens. That's natural. It happens all the time in school corporation as well. So, that's just part of doing, like you said, the business we have to do. So I think we need to stay with where we got it. I think we have one stipend missing that didn't get pulled back out for assessor because she wanted.
That's in the reassessment budget.
Okay, so it's not general.
It does not affect the general fund.
Thank you.
Marcus, I understand what you're saying. There is an expense that doesn't show on any accounting that's like sometimes an unrecognized expense. When you lose employees, whether we lose them to competition or we lose them to the private sector and they're getting paid more, the cost of attrition and the cost to hire someone, train them, the cost of paying overtime for other employees, picking up the additional responsibilities, I think and we haven't done the analysis for the county, but there is a good possibility that that could exceed the 1%. So I think
When
just to think about the. full
when we
picture.
changed salaries, you guys did that before we came on. How much of an increase did that result in?
What year? and what
When
are
they
you talking about?
readjusted them about 2 years ago, because last year we finally caught up county commissioners and I guess, was that mainly elected officials or was that all
It was
officials?
everyone.
It was
When you,
everyone.
How much did it increase that
Yeah,
year?
we were
Because
trying to
if you're
play
concerned
catch up.
about the salary level, that's already been studied and dealt with.
Yeah, we were trying to play catch up just with other agencies. And what I'm talking about here is, and this is my 40 years experience in county government. I'm looking at a storm in 2027 where I can't give a raise. And I'm saying we've got enough surplus between our rainy day fund, our general fund and stuff. And we got the budget here trimmed like this, and we requested office holders to come in with a lean budget, not with any fat. And they accepted that challenge. They did that. And I've got some valued employees I don't want to lose to the private sector. And if I can afford an additional 1% for our employees now, because I got the money, in 2 years, I don't think I will have. Do I sit now and not give them another raise and let them suffer for another years and go to another job? No, I can't stand for that.
I just don't think that's what's gonna happen, but I think that adjustment's
You
been.
sat here the same time I was, with 5 employees for the sheriff's department in 2 years.
I know.
There's
It
no
happens.
way there'll be raises.
It
I watched
happens
it through the
in
years.
the school.
I watched them bought dump trucks. We bought dump trucks and other things through the years, and our county employees suffered. They didn't get a raise because we had to buy these material things and keep adding employees to serve the public. Then we lose them across the street. We lost police officers because we couldn't pay them enough.
Marcus, you cannot compare the school system with the county employees or for that fact, the city.
Oh, I
comes
see
from-
it all the
comes-
time. It's the
it comes
same
from-
scenarios
It comes
over
from
and
a
over and
different
over.
pocket. They also had a demonstrance in 2022 while we were on COVID that passed because they needed more money for the employees and they increased the bonus just to give employees an increase. And they can adjust their rates a lot faster than they have versus us that have not increased our rates at all.
And we were a training ground. I'll just add this into it. If you had another city police, if they go ahead and add 3% more for their employees, we were a training ground. We took years to bring up our deputies to their pay so they wouldn't run across the street and take another job. We spent $100,000 to train those officers. Then when they get another raise or get another few $1,000s, they can walk across the street and get a job. And now we're trying to play catch up with our neighbors. And all I'm saying is, I see the writing on the wall. And if you guys hadn't observed that from what's going on with Senate Bill 1, what's going to happen in 2 years, you guys are here for a rude awakening. And if I can afford it now, I want to reward our employees.
Well,
You know where I stand, I know where you
I
stand.
agree, but we can't technically afford it. That's not true.
Well, we can. Can I interject? Can I interject? So I've now made the changes to reflect what a 1% raise would be. It'd be 146,472 in the raise line. And then it would be 11,205 in Social Security and 20,800 essentially in retirement for a total of the 178,476. That means that you still have your expenses are lower than your revenue by 787,000. I mean, one thing that you could easily change is don't give the commissioners the $1 million for the road, and you're there.
Right now, our expenses do exceed our revenue, right?
Our projected
We have a
revenue.
shortfall, but we have the reserves.
We have approximately $30 million in our general fund right now. So I would say that we have at least $15 million in surplus in our general fund.
Yeah, the thing I wanted to comment on is, last summer I got the opportunity to visit several departments. And I was thoroughly impressed with the expert level of people we have. Okay? I know other counties who do not have the level of employees that we have here. And like Mark said, if we just become a training ground for Johnson County and Marion County, that is a really poor way of respecting our community here. We need to take care of this community, and we need experts running our government. Okay? And I wanna reward these people, and I wanna keep them. If you don't think Scott, bless his heart, because he could go make 25% more somewhere else, right? If we don't respect him, he's going to. He will tire out and max out one of these days and say, what am I doing this for? They don't respect me. Okay? The 1% is $178,000. I'm with you, and I would love a balanced budget. But I also know that last year even though we had a balanced budget last year, we ended up with an excess. The year before they had a balanced budget, and they ended up with an excess. It looks like it's a deficit budget right now. I'm betting that we're still gonna come out with an excess based upon the last 2 years. I'm just that comfortable with it. I'm gonna bet on that.
That's where I'm at.
Ditto.
After the few years I've been on council, whatever we allocate never gets spent completely. What is our running on average every year that gets returned that's not spent?
Well, last year's budget, we did budget where we had excess in the budget.
Right, but then at the end of the year, how much
I
that we
believe we
appropriated?
transferred about $4 million from general fund to the rainy day fund.
So that's what we budgeted but didn't spend?
Yes.
We also need to consider the fact that there were, in the last 2 years in particular, our general budget, many items were paid through the commissions through ARP that allow our budget to be lower than what it really became by not having to spend some money in, for example, the replacement of the HVAC at the jail, there was an elevator, the courthouse, there were several expenses, and that's how we actually forget about the rainy day fund. We have about $15 million in additional that were causes by some of the money that was paid through ARP by the commissions that we did not have to spend.
That's correct. And that was primarily things that would have been in a long-term fixed asset
Correct.
line item.
So my
They
final-
they were definitely not things that were then ongoing expenses. We were very careful to make sure that that was not the case.
Correct.
So my final word, George, is that since there's a consensus here, I will join the consensus.
Okay. Is everyone head nodding to go 3?
I like to go to 3 at the end of the day, once we finish the numbers, because I
Yep.
don't think we've gone through everything.
So
I
work
just
the
wanted to reach the
numbers
top.
so we can see what it looks like at 3.
I just did for the general fund.
Yeah, so it's
Alright.
updated in the fund.
We'll have all the details
Beautiful.
Telling me you don't
By-
have to convince me.
and provide it to you
I'm fine.
within we'll have
I
it
join your
provided to you within a
consensus.
week.
So no, however, Marcus, thank you very much for your attitude. However,
Thank you.
Yeah,
I appreciate what you're saying and the guts that you had to be able to bring out to our attention how you feel about it. that in itself is fantastic. You know, and I appreciate that you have seen what we're trying to say.
With that being said, I want to make sure, as the resident nerd, everyone's aware that on Indiana Gateway, you can look at all of this information and all the trends. So if you're not looking at that, like, I get a lot of my data off of Indiana Gateway because that's where all of the information. So if you haven't gone there and looked at all of our reporting and how our money has changed over the years, it's a huge asset and tool for me. Like, it's open on my computer all the time, because then I know, like, what did it look
She's
like?
driving when I call her. So.
Stop. Don't tell people that.
A law
I go,
enforcement.
how do you know that? It's right here in front of me. I said, where's she driving?
She's like,
We're in salaries. I would like to bring something else up.
All right, go ahead, George.
During the IT presentation, if you remember, one of the biggest concerns that Scott Mays brought up was the retention of people, the salaries being paid at the low end of 25% out of their salary range. The fact that we have several people that are going on their own and getting certifications and things like that. So I asked him last night and I put him in the spot, to give me an idea of what does that mean from a salary point of view and all that kind of stuff. Scott was gonna do that with June 2025, and I said, no, that's not good enough. We need to do it. And whatever we do, we need to do it for this budget 2026. So he stayed until, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, 1 o'clock, putting out a 21-page report, which I received this morning. And I have read it, and it is absolutely fabulous. So much detail that I cannot do justice. But what I would like is a consideration that we address raising the range of pay of the IT department. We have 2 individuals that could be leaving us. One of them is the one who takes care of cybersecurity, which is very important to us. And to lose somebody like the skills that this individual has will create a lot of hardships to the community. We have already been, correct me if I'm wrong, hacked a couple times, so we have prevented several hacks and all that kind of stuff. So I would like for consideration of the council, and if necessary, have Scott explain to the council better than I can, you know, what adjusting the range would mean.
So what you're saying, just making sure I'm on the same page, is allowing Scott to sort of look at his salary ordinance for his employees, so as they get more certified, more equipped, then he has the ability to give them a pay bump.
Correct.
Okay, that makes sense. I'm aligned with that kind of thinking.
Do we need to have?
Again, let's not train them and lose them.
I think that Scott has a copy for each one of us of the 21-page report, if you want to be more. It took me about a good hour to read it, not to read it, to digest it, okay? It's that complex because there was a lot of comparison in salary grades, not only from the community, but also with, correct me if I'm wrong, Scott, with the city, the city of Columbus versus us. It is what I read. I was very impressed with the data that he has produced. So if we may, or would you like to add to it, Scott?
I'd be happy to answer questions, and yeah, if you guys would like me to.
I'm it's hard for you to digest 21 pages. I can 11,000 me hearing this now. I'm a little bit.
While Scott's doing that, do we have enough money for a box of toothpicks to keep his eyelids propped open?
I love it.
Can it come out of seated?
And we'll take it out of seated.
Scott's eyes open.
All right, I'm trying to listen.
I probably have 2 things in my phone.
Just haven't,
Why don't?
because we haven't.
Going to?
Well,
This is what you get. This is,
it's a discussion.
Here you go, Scott. Here you go, Scott. Here's some toothpicks. Here's some toothpicks.
Perfect. I want you to all know, we have posed particularly Scott's salary. We've all, us three commissioners have looked him in the face. And, because you know how today's world is. Everybody will sell you out for 50 cents or $1 an hour. And they'll move on. And he keeps looking us back in the face and telling us how happy he is to work for county government.
Well,
But at the end of the day, compensation is important.
yes.
Okay?
And let me tell you, I think Mark and I are the only two council people that were in the council when one day we were told the next day that the entire IT department quit. And that's when Scott was hired and he had to redo the whole department. Almost to what it is today, if not as good, but
Everybody's new.
but, I mean, so, and when you think about that, everything that is done in this county in order to do work, the deputies rely on needed, E911 needed, every office in here, the courthouse needs all the computers to be working correctly and everything else. So when we talk about first responders and how important they are, they do not include IT anymore. IT has to be one of the first in the group of the first responders. Without them, nothing will get done. Even our budgets. You guys were not here in this council when we did the budget by paper. And we had to wait until the auditor's office was able to catch up with the paperwork to find out whether we were meeting the budget or not. Now we're doing it instead of 3 days like we have spent, we weren't here until Friday working on the budget. That's how important and how much the IT that we have available to us is helping us. Scott, go ahead. I'm sorry.
No pressure.
Well, this is incredible. From my perspective, and working very hand in hand in my day job with IT, this all looks completely in line with where, if someone asked me to put this together overnight, there's nothing glaring to me that seems out of line if I were hiring some of these folks onto my team. So these are exactly the ranges I would be looking at.
I think it's like Lindsay when she was talking about bringing on deputy prosecutors.
Yep,
Based on skill level.
totally. I love that it's broken out like that. And it allows them to grow in their talent, and we're not just a training ground.
Yes, initially, it will not, what we're talking about is adjusting the range.
Yeah.
Now, during 2026, as people get certified or performance or whatever Scott deems that they deserve, it gives them the flexibility to give them an increase, which will be, you know, yes, it will be a cost to us, but it doesn't have to happen all at one time in a chunk of money.
I have a question. Scott. First of all, I'm in favor, because I personally believe people are investments, not expenses, so I appreciate that. However, with my understanding, if we change these ranges, are there anybody that falls into a range that would not be getting paid at the range that we would be hiring new people in at?
That's actually built into the real meat of the numbers is this
Okay.
very last page.
Yeah, I was just kind of flipping through.
Yeah, and I can kind of explain how that process would work. Maybe that would help everyone. But first of all, thank you for calling me up here to talk about this. You know, I kind of stayed within the framework of the budget expectations and we do have a developing concern, coming up with the employees who are gaining experience and who are gaining years of tenure. When IT people get to that 3 to 5 year mark and they get certificates under their belt, that makes them very attractive to go other places. And then, as you guys have mentioned here, we have become the training ground for other locations. So, and we run our staff very lean, and I'm more in favor of retaining the people and developing the people we have than trying to add headcount to the department and, compensating for lesser skilled employees. But that being said, the most exciting part to this for me is a framework that allows me to incentivize and, one sense in here, it empowers the staff to take ownership of their career growth with institutional support. So it sets in a framework to where if they come in at a base salary as an entry-level employee, they put the time in, they put the effort to gain skills, we help them get those skills, then we're gonna reward them to stay with us and continue using those skills here rather than take them somewhere else. So that's the most exciting thing to me about, first 2 pages of this. And now the rest of this is lots of, as Lee said, lots of nerdy work. I like that too. Digging into the analysis and finding out many different sources, whether it's be the private sector, other national level government, local level government, Midwest region. Those are the 3 sectors that drove these analysis. And by the way, the last time we did this for the IT department, just, kind of a look at it under the hood, was in 2016. That was the year that I wasn't here yet, but I know all of you put a lot of effort in figuring out what does 2016 look like. And then we've just kind of done the annual increases since then, and that's all we've done. So that being said, if we want to jump back to the far end of the numbers, the range is the key point to be able to incentivize. And the 3 elements of those incentivization, it's earning certificates, earning tenure, and performance. So that's the 3 levels that trigger these different columns of compensation. So a brand new employee, and this is to Kim's question, a brand new employee would come into us at the very low end of the range. Let's say they have 0 to 1 years of experience, but maybe they just graduated with an associate's degree for informatics. So that would be a base level entry. And then we would, as an institution, help them. And I think I mentioned maybe $1,500 a year, for assistance with training vouchers or certificate vouchers. We would help them earn. And then they would be earning their time, earning the certificates. And then once they hit the benchmark that's identified on those first pages, they could be advanced to the middle tier of what we call an intermediate, 25 percentile salary. So then they continue to earn, they continue to stay, they continue to certify, they continue to perform. And then by the time they reach the 3rd tier that's identified, and the key is we have to identify it the same for everybody. And they would earn the market midpoint salary, which, that's where all of our competitors are hired, market midpoint. So that's the theory, that's the logic behind what I put together between 6:30 and 1 this morning, so.
You're insane. So do you do annual performance reviews with quarterly or semi-annual check-ins?
I do continual about every 3 months. It's informal at this point.
Yeah,
I would love it to be more formal, but
Yeah,
it's informal at this point. And the focus there is, what do you want to learn next? What are your interests? How can I support that within the work that we have to do? And then, we set some, I learn what those interests are, nurture those, and then we rinse and repeat about every 6 months, to be honest. So it's an informal process right now, and inherently it's worked within the current ranges we have.
perfect.
Because I do hire at the entry level, currently. And then honestly, our progression has been promotions. So the people that are there have promoted from entry level to their current positions. And now we're tagging on specializations, networking, cybersecurity, because we need those skills. And so that's where they start to get very attractive. If you tag on those certification and specializations, then the private market just gobbles you up.
Yeah, you do a great job with your report to us during budget, that I just see some natural alignment between our goals and making sure that we're technically safe and secure as well as savvy, so our employees can do their job. So I think it naturally aligns with what your employee goals and development could be.
It does, yeah. It's always a tug between
Yeah.
needs and safety. It's always a
Yep.
tug.
Yep. Yeah, if someone came to you and said, hey, I'd like to learn how to make video games, not sure that aligns, but
I don't think I could support that.
yeah,
one.
agree. Yeah,
At least on the business hours.
totally, totally.
Help me on the last page. I
Yes,
just
sir.
trying to get the numbers right now. On the 2026 shortfall that you show, that would be, would you budget that all employees would max out on all benefits? And that amount, or is this an actual current certifications or potential new certifications at level with all employees? I'm trying to figure out what's short in 26 and what the actual number is.
And what we go, oh, gotcha. Yeah, so on that last page, the gray boxes that are throughout those middle three columns,
Right.
that is the current, we have a couple people who are in between phases right now. But that is the current and the in-between positions that all of the current employees are at. That right column gives a little better description. Such as we have some 2-year experience employees, some with certifications already earned, some not yet. So they are going to cross into that 3 years. Plus, if we get them promoted to do a certification, then they'll meet that next year. So if we were to award that, or if the range is available.
If they did.
It does, yeah, if it happens, then that for 2026, that 60,000 number
Okay.
is the deficit of that. Now, if we jump to the future, years down the line, and everybody earns all their certificates, everybody stays here, everybody has their tenure, and everybody's performing, then the number right above that I made really small.
It's theoretical.
It's theoretical, yeah, but natural people coming and going, hopefully that's minimizing it, but people are still gonna come and go.
Yeah, attrition's real.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. So somewhere between those two numbers is what the reality would end up being, as far as
That's the
range.
maximum of the shortfall, so that if there's no goals mixed, the 100s go back.
That's right.
This will not prevent from people leaving, but it sure helps to ensure that they will more likely stay than leave. And would it be safe to say that in your department, you're basically operating 24/7, 365 days, depending on what the needs may be?
Well, Scott is
If you have a
definitely.
holiday and there's something wrong with the computers for the deputies, you guys come in and take care of it regardless, correct?
We do.
So that's what I'm getting at. Now, all the time, they don't have to work 24/7, but they are almost on call for 24/7.
And we rotate that responsibility. Lightning strikes at the 911 center, that's an all hands on deck. We all drop everything we're doing and take care of that.
And we don't have any way right now to compensate for that capability.
We use, for that purpose, we use the county's flex time policy. So if an employee has a really busy on-call week and ends up with 10 hours that they worked for on-calls, and I'm fairly generous with that. If somebody gets that at 3 a.m., I give them a little bit of time to wake up, get their computer booted up, logged in, take care of the problem, and give them a little bit of time there. So, and we do, it's hour for hour. The flex time is hour for hour. We take it when we can. And I think that rotates quarterly, those balances. Is that right? I'm looking at our payroll peoples. The flex time that rotates quarterly. Right.
You're supposed to use it.
Use
by
it the same way,
following
yeah,
quarter.
yeah. So we have that limit of, we can't just bank flex time as an exempt employee. We have to use it within that quarter. And we try, don't always get to, but, nobody's really complaining about that so much, so.
One last question for council members. When, a couple of years ago, when you did make adjustments to salaries to bring people to a more competitive wage, did we look at IT at that time, or
We
Yes.
discussed it with, I think we talked to you about it, and it was, at that point, we were comfortable. I
Yeah,
thought
yeah, everything was.
So,
The time that we really looked at their salaries
16.
was 4 years ago when everybody quit. We went back to, we made, I mean, the big stress was with the commissioners because they had to establish a brand new IT department. We had to follow up and help the commission to make sure that we had the right range of salaries after they hired Scott to be able to hire people competent enough to be able to do the job. So we didn't take care of a big chunk of the money, but that, well, I think the last time we adjusted something was, correct me if I'm wrong, 2016.
Yeah, that was the last.
It's been about 9 years ago that we have looked at the thing, and I'm asking for adjustment of the range to be able to compensate people.
And to be fair, because I pulled this out, we were comparing
Oh, yeah.
to other counties, not.
Right.
Where this is one department.
Right.
Where I could poach all of his employees if I wanted to, for my.
I see, I'm looking, trying to, this is 11th hour on me grabbing this in my head and the numbers. I personally like to go ahead and finish going through the rest of the department heads and look at our final number, then make a decision, then, yeah, we can support this within the budget. Cause I don't know if we've gone through all the other.
We have not gone through all of the other. We have another big elephant in the room we need to talk
And that's
about. But
fair, Mark.
this is gonna help us make the decision.
Yeah. On some other.
Yeah,
Moving money or how we're gonna pay for things.
yeah, so we can address this.
And that's fair, and the only thing is,
I see
we've
it,
been
I
talking
understand.
about this thing since Monday. You know, I got Scott to help me out in coming up with this document to help out, because I think this is an area and a subject that needs to be corrected somehow.
I agree. This is wildly beneficial. So let's continue to keep this top of our desk. You're here, so if we have more questions.
Thank you guys for hearing me. It's a
Yeah.
problem that.
And by the way, Scott talked to all three commissioners. Carla's the only one here, but is it safe to say that all three commissioners are in favor or supportive of what we're doing?
Yes, we are. We all three conferred this morning on the phone, and even though Scott essentially is our employee under us, we gave him our blessing because we felt like this was important.
Agree. Okay, I know some people have to start peeling out because they have day jobs too. So I want to pivot to the youth services to get some consensus here while Carl's also in the room. So we've been working on this for literally years, but hot and heavy the last few months. I emailed you last month, sort of the proposals that we've worked and put together. And then last night I shared with you potential bond costs in terms of what would the interest be if we borrowed different amounts of money versus using cash and how much cash. So really where we're at is we sort of have to come to a consensus with what do we feel as a council we should do when we look at handling the youth services. I've also shared with you the cost if we shut down the youth service center. Pia put together some quotes on like if we outsourced all of the youth, that should be in your inbox as well.
I think, to add a little bit to that, to speed with this. When we were first, Lee and I took on several months ago, meeting with stakeholders, the commissioners, the center itself, the judges, everybody, and looking at, we were kind of shell shocked with the first analysis of close to 20 million. We talked about the council at different times and wanted to pare that building down the best we could and talk to the commissioners on location. And we've done multiple analysis and we went back in, Lee and I, and threw some challenges back at them to reduce square footage and their uses, and also the manning issues and everything we could think of, we talked about. And actually, the last meeting we had we came up with approximately 14.5 million for a structure that would be potentially built on the current location out there. We had time to speak with the commissioners after that, determining location and multiple things by where it would be located at. And Carl, correct me if I'm wrong, the guidance I think the commissioner would like from us is what, not how we're gonna spend it, but what we're willing to potentially bond or pay cash with some of it. And the last part we came up with that working group with the stakeholders was 14.5 million for approximately a 17,000 square foot built on that location. And I kind of think if we can have a consensus, that's not saying today we would bond X amount or pay cash X amount, but with that amount looking and with the analysis of a potential bond and split half of that cash and with a bond, our payment would still be less than what we're gonna finish off paying the jail here with. And my suggestion would be if we can come up with a consensus to put it back in the commissioner's court then, because we were looking at potentially building on that spot, if that's where they'd like to do, or other county properties stand alone, let them do the analysis. They run the buildings and see what they can do and come back with. Because everybody, the consensus is that building was, what, Carl, 50 some years old, or and we can't keep putting bad money or good money into a bad building, right?
It's about 65.
1965 since there.
Yeah.
And like I said, we went back and forth on the pros and cons, cut space down at Sallyport for security and looked at everything, and that would be my recommendation to the council from the meetings I set in, to set a limit right now, 14.5 million, and ask the commissioners if they can build it for that on that spot or less at a different spot.
Or buy another facility.
Right, and let them come back to us, at least with some guidance, on what we can afford moving forward. But as I say, today, we don't need to set on, well, we're gonna bond X amount or that. But preliminary looking at it, the payments, if we bond part of it, pay part of it with cash, would be less than our paying off the jail that's coming here at the end of the year, I think. So it'd be less of a payment, for that.
Remind me what our jail payment is now
Approximately 1.8 a year.
per year. Okay.
And I think I'm looking at 7.5 million cash, 7.5 million,
Bond.
bond, and I'm going from memory last night reading this, it was like 1.2 or 1.4, it's like 600,000 less than we were paying that current bill if we bonded half and bonded cash. But we can make that determination. Maybe they can come back better location or estimating the bid, so we gotta wait for them,
If
giving them guidance.
if they can solve this for $14.5 million, solve it.
Right.
However they want to solve it. I would be comfortable with that.
I feel comfortable agreeing with a matter of 14.5 million. However, I would prefer for it to be a lot less than that by either buying a building, renting a building, whatever, something better than having to build a building. As long as it's less than 14.5, but I'm willing to go with 14.5 billion built.
Leah, you said in all meetings that probably more than me on some of them. I mean, how do you feel where we're at with it?
I actually think like the 14.5 million is probably a good investment. When I looked at Pia's numbers, like we're still gonna have to budget a large amount of money, even if we outsource all of this, because we cannot predict. So right now it's low. Next month, we might have 10 kids in. So like, we're still gonna have to budget.
So right now we have 3 kids, right?
Right now, we have 3 kids.
Yeah.
In 2 weeks, we could have 13 kids. It's the unpredictability of it is hard to manage, where at least if we have a fixed cost with a building, yes, whether we have 1 kid in or 13 kids in, we still have to have certain roles.
It would seem to me that the obvious thing would be that if we can find an acceptable building that will require some upfitting,
Yeah,
will not only be cheaper and faster, than building a new building. If we're talking about new building, correct me if I'm wrong, Carl, it may be 2 years before we get everything completed.
It'd probably take that long.
Okay.
And that's
So
where we
if
look
now
at.
in 2 years, I mean, we're housing people in a facility that is deteriorating and not acceptable. to live in.
I would love the idea of finding a building. I do know from doing this process, retrofitting a building is also costly, so that's where I would look at the commissioners and say, let's not just,
That's their, yes, that's for you guys to decide what is best. That's what I'm saying. I'm willing to go to the 14.5 building, that will be
Yep.
building a new building. However, if we can do it cheaper than that by finding a new building or rent, or something like that, I would prefer that.
And ultimately, that's what we looked at on that location out there. We did everything from remodeling that to building a standalone, modifying both, and needed square footage and cutting that down, and that's limited space there, but can be done. But that's when we finally, at the end of the day, come up with, but the commissioners, they've done a lot of discussion on it too, different options. So Carl, does that help you and the commissioners move forward on this project?
I think what we need a top figure. And then we're not done looking the landscape over for something that could be retrofitted.
okay.
But I do find it kind of, not humorous, but amazing, I guess. I want to remind all of us, council as well as the commissioners, we would not be in the great financial shape that we are in if it wouldn't have been for all that federal money that came from Washington. And we need to always remember that. Our seeded fund would not be where it's at if we wouldn't have had that 16.2 or 4 million ARP money.
I
Okay.
agree.
Correct.
Another thing that, when we talk about rehabbing buildings, and I realize our highway garage is at least 5 years old. It's funny how time gets away. I think I'm correct on my numbers. You guys probably wonder, he doesn't know numbers at all after Monday. Our highway garage cost us 7.6 to 7.8 million, okay? Another 848,000 for a salt barn. That gets us to 8.648 million for our facility. I read in the paper this morning where the Department of City Works has trying to stay with a budget of 14.3 million to rehab a building for their street department.
Man.
Now, I'm not criticizing the city of Columbus at all. I forget what they had to give for that building, but that is, I'm assuming, in addition to that 14.3. So rehabbing sometimes is not the cheapest way out,
Yeah.
but you need to turn those rocks over, George. You're exactly right. So I talked enough.
And that's where we kind of looked at when we were doing it, building on that lot, because we own the lot. And let's start somewhere so we get a rough cost and figure out what we can actually afford if it's done there, and then the challenges to the
I got a
commissioners.
question for you, Mark, on this thing. At one point in time, we also talked about whatever we build. We were talking about, thinking ahead and future use of the E911.
There was modifications to that lot that it'd still be operational there. And then we even talked about the technology, they won't need as much space because of technology. And we talked to the commissioners about it, and during the process, and that's where we had the architects involved, moving that building around on that lot to keep them still there. And that could be 5 years out, we don't know
Build
what.
there, am I hearing you correct, that if we build there in that spot for the youth service center, that there could be room enough to be able to do something additional to the E911?
It all depends on where they position it on the lot.
Okay.
And that will be with the architects and the commissioners figuring that both buildings out at the time.
It seems
We
to-
looked at modifying that to keep the operation going instead of shutting it down and outsourcing where the additional cost. We looked at it while it's still working there and put a building on that spot.
So that's something that we would ask the commissioners to, to keep in mind. Right?
Yeah, I want to triple down on that. Lindsay Holden Kay let us know yesterday, the prosecutor's out of office space, and she's going to be expanding her deputy prosecutors. So I don't know if there's a trifecta look at this, but I do know she mentioned that she does not have a place to put her new deputy prosecutor in her current office location. So I don't know if there is a way to think about how do we reuse buildings, reposition buildings, but yeah, I know that there are a couple offices that probably are like, help us commissioners. So just keep us informed.
Thank you.
Is that it? I mean, are we on a consensus on the 14 and a half?
14 and a half, we'll figure out how to bond versus cash.
It
But
might have been on your coming back, and we also challenge to keep the ball rolling because every day that building's falling apart even further.
And the cost is increasing.
Right. And keep us abreast and we'll still.
Okay, that's fair.
Oh. What else did we have to cover?
Okay, the other thing, what is I know you need to leave. Do we want to quickly walk through any of the budgets? We did not have anyone present to us, just to make sure everyone, especially any of you who've not been through it before, Kim and Michael, do you want to walk through any of the budgets we didn't hear from? Or have you perused them enough that you're comfortable with what's in there?
I've looked at them and I sat through, even though I wasn't
Part of the council?
part. I think Mike sat through it last year too.
Didn't know if you wanted to verbally walk through everything so you understood everything, because we could have a walkthrough with the cumulative.
Do you have to leave, Ken? Is that-
No.
No.
Just me.
Marcus needs to go.
Are you okay with what we're talking about, the, IT department?
Oh, we didn't get around to that now.
Well,
We're not done with that.
I don't want to go back to the IT till we finish with all of the budget questions and do am I able to present? Do I have Zoom capabilities that I can present? I do.
Are you logged in now?
I am logged in. Yeah, I
I'll be
see.
zooming, but on that, I'll let you guys,
You'll be zooming.
I'll be able to, I'll probably go with the consensus on what you guys decide for the IT, okay?
Thank you.
I don't think there's a losing way there, so.
That's not,
Let's not
that's
Zoom
not
while
the
you're driving the
keynote.
bus,
Which
Mark.
one do I want to share? There is.
No
one.
laptop while you're driving the kids on there.
I'm trying to. figure out which one I wanna share now. I have a lot of them.
You're all called.
Yeah.
I want cumulative, I think.
Could maybe put him on Zoom in the bus.
I was gonna say,
I'm gonna go
those kids will
back
be more
down
educated
here.
than their parents.
No, I do. This is, yeah, 2026. That's what I want to share.
Marcus.
Be good.
I know. Okay, got it.
Plugged it all in.
Thank you.
The
Yep.
other day.
I got it. Okay, real fast.
Figuring the cost of one.
Oh, you're controlling that.
Yeah, I'm controlling it. Look at me.
That away from Carolyn and Pia. Ooh,
Can't see it there.
Look at the power I'm wielding.
you lost out, Pia.
Okay.
My spreadsheet.
So, I'm gonna quickly scroll through these. County clerk, looks like only change here is with increased postage,
And they're 2%.
and their 2% raise. And the 2,500 for the voter registration clerk stipend. County auditor, 2% raise.
Okay, hold on for there.
Yeah,
Where did we come up with the stipend?
we put them back in for the auditor and the assessor that is coming out of the reassessment.
And there's gonna be criteria on the salary ordinance of how to get that stipend, is that correct?
There already is.
Within the state
Statute, an IC
statute.
number, wasn't it?
Within the state,
Yeah, within the state statute.
right?
Yeah, it was an IC number just for attending the meetings, not certification in the
Yeah,
auditors.
for hers, for
Because
the
Jenny was saying
assessor,
Something that she had. a
the
defini-
assessors, that's within the statute as well.
Okay,
So in the auditor's budget, and also, I believe the treasurer put in her budget, a slight increase in office expenses because next year we will need to get new stamps after the November election because Barb and I are both no longer going to be serving in our roles.
Good to know.
Leah, just to confirm, we're going through these, but we're assuming 3%.
Yeah, 2% is
Yeah,
what's
this
in here because we
document
just
hasn't
made the
changed.
3% change today.
We're
Yes.
looking to see if we missed anything.
Okay, just make sure.
County treasurer. The treasurer stamps there too for printing new letterhead after she's not in office. Pretty straightforward there. Recorder 2%, sheriff we went through. County surveyor,
There was nothing there.
Good.
One
Nothing on the
replacement hire.
surveyor.
well, he's made some,
However, the problem that I see that we're gonna have in the surveyor is that we just had Jeff retiring.
right,
And he's gonna have to replace, and we have not done anything. If you remember, we had a lot of conversations last year with, Edie about salaries. Even though we adjusted some. I think we adjusted some, but I'm not sure whether that's gonna be enough for them to be able to hire somebody.
He can come back at the time.
But that can be done at the time that
Yeah.
they replace.
yeah.
That's another one Michael and I were talking about.
But that's an open thing that I don't know that we need to address right now.
So the surveyor asked for he didn't ask for anything for himself. He asked for 2.5% for his other people. If you've given 3% for everyone now,
Yeah,
I mean, he's not gonna turn down a 3% raise.
yeah, yeah,
So-
just put it across the board.
Was that already reflected in your number?
Probably not.
We can.
But
It's minor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of his other big numbers look like they're actually small numbers. It's just big percentages. Yeah. Okay, the coroner's office. Looks like they need some fuel increase.
One thing,
Yeah.
how did we handle contractual services countywide? We did it last year when we did
The raises?
the raises for as,
Parks
public
Department.
defenders, part-time people. We discussed that.
Parks was another one that had a lot of,
Parks,
contractual employees.
yeah, they only had one. I think that was something we have
I
not.
thought the parks had part-time employees.
Not contractual.
I mean, they do have some,
Part-time
yeah,
or
you're right, they have the people that done.
And Heflin,
And
Well, and he,
we
corners,
brought up the public defenders. Was that last year?
yeah, we adjusted that last year.
And your attorney. How we paying? It's contractual.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
but
our
they,
attorney is contractual.
You guys put anything in there?
I don't know how you handle contractual. On
Last year, a couple of years, we didn't even give raises, if I remember right, and then last year we brought them up to a number, wasn't it, Pia? If you remember,
We did, we added whatever percentage in,
last year,
I believe so.
would be consistent with them and do the same thing?
well, part of me is like, I'm struggling here because to a point, some of the contractual, I think about our lawyer. He submits like what his fee is gonna be to like be here, and then he, within his contract says, this is my hourly bill rate after it. So to a point, we don't have to tell him, oh, you get a 3% raise. He just builds it in with the contract he submits to us. That's why when we budget and say, hey, we're gonna need $100,000 for contract, or I see here with the coroner, he's like, I'm gonna need to bump this 5,000 based on the amount of work. I think they're
Maybe it's
handle,
a contractual thing. with
let them
them.
handle their budget and their contracts. That's where my head, that's where my
You
heads
guys
are at.
Yeah, I am too. And I'm thinking they should have had correspondence with anybody they had contracts with to see if,
They needed to change.
Yeah,
if they were, when at renewal, if they were going up or not.
Okay.
yeah.
That's part of,
And we got a bunch of
If they're
people
doing
listening.
their job, that's what they should have done.
Yeah.
It's part of their planning
Right.
responsibilities.
And then the second thing is if it's beyond the contractual people, what about our part-time people? Was it?
Those were all put in
they
at
were in your
2%,
numbers?
and so those will be changed to 3%.
Okay, perfect.
That's all I had.
All right, assessor, she spoke to us earlier this month.
Yep.
Prosecuting attorney, she spoke with us, vote, registration of voters, she spoke with us. County extension did not speak to us, but it looks like, the raises and then the 3% increases our contract with Purdue University for the extension educators. Veteran service, the raises, and then, oh, remember last year, there was a zero error, so it looks like it's a huge burial benefit, but he had to come back and ask for that because it should have been 50,000.
But
it was-
48.
or, yeah, 48.
48,000, not 4,800.
Yeah, so, so now it was, yeah, so it looks like it's a large change, but we had already adjusted. Our county council, we reduced down to just 100,000. Drainage board,
Looks like mostly reductions across the.
Yeah.
Top line says
the top-
other personal services.
those are the board members that, get $50 for
Do
12
they used to
meetings.
not get paid?
I think they're giving, they're adding 4 board members, maybe? No, I think they were getting paid.
I'm the 5th board member. I don't get paid.
You don't get paid, so it's the other 4. Got it.
Okay.
Thank you. County commissioners presented. Do we want to discuss community crossings anymore?
Which one?
The community crossings, they had originally asked for 2 million. Danny said he thinks they're still gonna get $1 million. We've left $1 million in there to help with roads. I'm a little torn here because part of me is like, I like putting money towards roads. I get a lot of calls about roads. The poor commissioners have to deal with me.
What's his 800? Or, no, where is that?
Any
figure?
thoughts, Carl?
What's your thought process?
Um,
Take $1 million out, how will that disrupt? Or will it?
Just depends what the state does.
And you can always, you got additional seated that's still not earmarked.
Which, I don't know which line it's in.
Wasn't it?
I had notes in
They,
mine.
in the information that they provided yesterday, they had 3 million of unappropriated seeded money.
Valid.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, building improvement, community crossings.
And let me
42.
remind you, if you need to make an additional
The bottom line.
appropriation, when we have better understanding of what is gonna happen with the community crossings, you can do that at a future time.
Or we
That's
can-
valid.
Can we do that? Remove it, let them pay it out of seat, take it out of seat?
Well, and see what the state gives us, and then then Danny can come back and say, okay, I only got 800,000. Can you make up the different? Can I have the additional 700?
Yeah, I mean,
I
To
don't want
get-
to shortchange roads, but.
I don't want to
we don't
shortchange
need the
roads
rest of
either.
I think
it.
we
We
deal
don't
with it
need
at the time and not now.
next April, after they have their short session, they may make changes, and then if you need to make an additional appropriation, or if you need to, do something different, you can do that at that time. We still have reserves.
So zero it out.
You okay, Carl, and come back and see what they do?
Yeah, we can come back and visit you every month. if
I
you want us to.
usually do, for one thing or another.
Well, it just, then we all know an accurate number of
I
what you're
know.
gonna get. And then we
There's a
can make up.
whole lot up in the air, isn't there?
There
Yeah.
is. So
Not
then
just
if,
you.
so then if you get 500,000, you can come back and be like, okay, we do need that million back to be able to just maintain.
Cause that used to be a more firm number and now
Yeah.
it's become a giant question mark.
Yeah, because they reduced the number. And then they've changed the population parameters on who can go after the money.
Right.
So they don't, I mean, Danny's like, I think I'm gonna get $1 million, but I don't know till they tell me.
As much as I hate to say the thing, at some point in time, and I don't like the idea, we may have to institute the wheel tax.
I'm not saying we won't either, but next year, it has nothing to do with wheel tax.
Right.
Next year has nothing to do with wheel tax. It's the change in how they're funding. The year after that, then we're not gonna qualify.
We have so many balls in the air with that we don't quite understand or know how it's gonna fall. That, at some point in time, we're gonna be forced to do something that we don't wanna do.
That's why I really wanna dig into the lit stuff, because preliminary research I've done, I think lit might be the better lever for us than doing lit and wheel tax.
So that's why we're paying Reedy too.
Yep, exactly. Yep.
Can I point out before you go too much further down, line on your spreadsheet, line 188 was their legal line item, and they did have a 2% increase in that. If you would want us to go through on all of the persons like legal services and public defenders, et cetera, and make sure that we have a 3% increase in those, we can take the time and make sure that we have those calculated.
That would be great.
Will make sense.
So
Okay,
that way at first reading, all of those are tight.
That's correct.
Carl, on your insurance, like liability insurance, et cetera, did you go back and add additional insurance for cyber?
I think there's enough cushion in there to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would like to make sure that we have the standard cyber that comes is probably not sufficient for our county.
Yes,
So I think we do need to increase it. I don't think it's costly, so,
we're working on
okay.
it, okay?
Well, I'm still forgetting, did we do the 290 out of Riverboat, or did we do?
No, they're seated. They're doing seated.
290?
Where did we do the?
Or should we, if we
Rick's
pull
the
the
sewer.
whole community, should we do?
The parks.
We're just
Yeah.
leaving it flat.
So
I say go ahead and
basically,
take it out of
we're
seed.
not touching at all,
Not yet.
not yet, good.
So 400,000 for court services.
It's gonna hit that.
Riverboat used to increase
Oh,
at a much higher rate.
How long's
than
your
it is now.
ambulance contract?
3 years.
3 years, was this the second year?
Yes.
So we got one more, you got
Yes.
Yep.
832.
Yep.
You know what that ambulance gonna look like with the hospital and stuff, if that's gonna,
We appropriate, or we put in the same amount we did for this past year. I think it was 848 or 868,000.
We should have a better feel for what's going on with that ambulance contract by the end of the third quarter. So sometime in, let's say, October, maybe your November meeting, we should be able to address that further.
Data processing, computers.
Use service center cost included, that's for the new one.
and then that showed, you did have the reduction in there, but you did do
No,
the
that's
reduction all ago?
for the use Scott, correct me, the service cost included is some of the equipment they requested, correct?
In the IT budget?
In the data processing budget?
Yeah, we had, see, have that right here.
That, they needed some cameras or,
Yes, there's about a total of just under $50,000. But a lot of this is not building specific, it's things like case management software, some body cameras, signature pads, digital file cabinets. So,
yeah, things that are,
building specific would be like the camera system
okay,
for the building, and we paused on that. It's nowhere right now.
yeah, okay,
Just to add that into the building expense.
perfect.
Going back to Carl, we left 100,000 in for contractual. Will you need more based on the number that we sent to you for, on the youth services potential building? Will that cover you for
Didn't
next
we?
year? Is that enough for the
They-
year?
They had money in theirs too.
Okay.
Okay. Central Services E OEP. Court services covered. Okay, the the courts pretty much stayed flat except for the salaries, and public defenders are included, so we're gonna increase public defenders 3% too as well, right?
Correct.
Superior Court 2. Circuit Court.
Flat.
Plat. Comms Department. flat. Weights and measure. Looks more than flat when you look at. Cause they bought a new truck last year, didn't they?
Yep.
Human resources, just salary. Building maintenance. Now Carl,
Why do they not
Carl leave or is he here?
He's right here.
He's right there.
He's behind Corbett.
Oh, so building maintenance employees, how will the change in hours change any of their lives? Will it?
Oh, God.
Sorry, I didn't mean to ask such a tough question. I didn't necessarily think about our building maintenance folks.
Yeah, I don't know, we haven't crossed that, we haven't pinned that animal yet.
Okay,
Put the halter on him, okay?
got it. Perfect.
You know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
Put a halter on it.
Good play on words.
There's at least 2 cattle girls in here.
Yeah, no, and Greg Patterson knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Code enforcement, looks like they need some new uniforms. Besides salary changes in classes. Security center, flat except for raises. Jail and detention center, we've been through. The 4D program we've been through. Soil and water, flat except for raises. Parks Department visited us. Did we take Heflin out of here already?
Yep.
Okay. Child soup covered. ASAP jail covered. Drug court. Those are just raises. ASAP court. Raises. Okay. This is the lit. Piers all flat. The jail. The sheriff went through that for us. Clerks. Per fund. Looks flat except for raises.
Again, we'll go through all those to make sure that we change it from 2% to 3%.
Amazing. Sale disclosure, Cume Bridge, he talked through. Maintenance and repair, he talked through. Emergency planning. The stipends. Did they add another like, do you know why their stipends went up 33%? Is it because there's something more happening? I guess it doesn't matter.
Leah,
Yes, oh.
this is Shannon.
Hey,
I can answer that for you. That's the LEPC fund that we present to you every year.
Yes.
In the past, we have not had a stipend, which is an allowable expenditure for us. We did add that this year in 25. And what we do now is we provide lunch for the meeting that's held from 12 to 1. We
Perfect.
can either pay a stipend to the members or we can provide lunch for the meeting.
Perfect. Thank you.
Uh-huh.
Health department went through. This is the health fund that comes from property taxes. Security protection. Health First Indiana, the money that comes in from the state. Lots of decreases there. The carryover budgets were both environmental nursing that Link and Amanda walked through. Okay, local road and street, Danny went through. MVH, no change. Other MVH is the highway admin, the raises, maintenance and repair raises. Okay, recorder's office. Increase in wages. So huge jump in Social Security. Was that a typo from last year?
28.
Don't know.
Okay. Surveyors corner, or actually looks, oh. Repairs and maintenance is what he's working on this year, it appears. The Health Trust, Amanda talked through that. Elections, talked through that for us. Can tell it's an election year. Okay, 911, he didn't come present, but he, that's another thing we did not talk about. Is he gave us that 5-year plan where we probably need to make sure we have earmarked for his increases. He talked to us
Roughly, yeah.
Yeah. 'cause he came
2
with
million
a
over the
large-
next 5 years.
Yeah.
Yep. The reassessment. The stipend is in there. Adult probation, they talked through that. Alcohol and drug program. Did you have a question there, Mike? I see your finger go.
Stipend the correct amount on the reassessment?
Yes, because she asked for 10 because she wanted reimbursed for 2025.
But I thought we were doing 5, are we doing 2,500 or 5?
That should be
That's
5,000.
just an election on a,
No, this is for assessor. That should be 5,000.
That should be fine.
That should be 5,000 for the reassessment.
Yeah.
We'll make that change.
All right, thank you.
Can't read.
Adult probation, drug. Sorry, I'm starting to go cross-eyed. Pretrial division. Public health preparedness, she went through. The VOCA investigator, right, I think. 40. Oh, there's the VOCA grant. Workforce supplemental school. What is this?
That's another, that's the health department's FIT fund that they pay out of. There's an
Thank you.
Abby Freeney's paid out of that. She's.
Thank
the facility fund.
Thank you.
Mhm.
Community corrections, one of their, I'm assuming these are grant, some of their funds they just, yes, I remember 9102. He brought that up. Veterans Court. There's a grant for that. These are all the grant accounts, right? Okay.
We're almost there.
Oh, look, we made it. Okay. Any questions?
So
Oh, my eyes
I've
are
got a couple,
burning.
I've got a couple of things to add.
Okay.
One is when we talked about E911, and obviously you're gonna look, when Todd presented at your work session, and you're gonna look in the future, that's an opportunity or an area where you can address with specific lit funding.
Okay,
Part of that is we get money from the state, the city pays part, and we also then have allocated the public safety lit amount to pay for most of that. And that's been able to generate enough revenue and enough in the fund to take care of that.
so what do we do? If he's gonna need 2 million in 5 years, how do we address it annually?
Well, that's where, you kind of figure out where it is on your lit funds, and you can maybe bank some money for that, or you take money out of rainy day for that, or, you plan accordingly
he gave us a
based on what he
paper
said.
copy. Is his stuff in our capital? Where,
It should be,
in the capital? I'm just not finding it.
should be. And then in your files, there are also, and Dalia, maybe you can share the solid waste. So there are 2 other budgets that we don't run through our financial system that you also approve. One being the solid waste.
Oh, yes.
And I think that have they talked to you about that, or have we heard about that? Or
We have a new
Carl's here
president.
and sits on that board. They're not doing the cardboard anymore, and
We have
our
the
cardboard dumpster needs to be dumped, Carl.
Pia, we have the president with us.
Oh, great. Congratulations.
Oh, that's right.
Wonderful. And then the other thing that is in there somewhere, I believe, is the VIP budget
Yes,
also.
The visitors.
But for the visitor center, they have innkeeper's tax
Yes.
that people pay when they rent an Airbnb or have a hotel room. And that money then is passed to the visitor center. Heather Cecil also just mentioned that she's online if you have any questions.
And wasn't there one other one that Lisa Moore?
She comes just during your meeting in October,
She's coming to the meeting in October, okay.
September and October.
Pierre, you suggest, now, I'm just gonna throw this out that you mentioned it, like with Todd and anticipating a 2 million in 5 years, if I remember right. Now or at some point earmark or create a line item or whatever you wanna call it, because George has always wanted a capital fund. If we're gonna have to invest in that in 5 years, if we, put 400,000 out each year going forward, would that be something, a line item, or how do we do that?
That might make sense.
And take it out of our rainy day fund and separate that over, anticipating that in 5 years, we're gonna need 2 million?
I mean, for a big ticket item like
Or
that,
what are you thinking?
that you know you're
I mean,
gonna
that's part
have,
of- That's not the building, that's the infrastructure.
that's one way to earmark it.
Mhm.
And,
Not, and anticipate
yeah,
a big ticket item.
Just label it 911 capital fund.
Or just
Yeah.
capital
I
fund
believe,
in
I believe you
general.
have to have the
Yeah.
commissioners set up a
Different
fund,
things over
have
time.
them approved to set up a fund, but this body obviously funds that. So, yeah, you could do that.
I have a question.
I don't think it's necessary, but
It comes out of a big pot anyway.
it may make sense so that we remember,
We don't lose track of it.
right?
I do have a question on two areas. And just because we have done it in the past, I don't know.
Can you talk in your microphone?
Well, I thought I was. There are two areas. One, the wastewater came over and they presented our budget. We approved it.
The
we have-
what?
The budget for Heather Seisel was presented. Normally, we have basically approved what she recommends. She normally puts whatever salary increase we give to her budget. We have not done that with the visitor centers. We normally approve whatever money they have requested. And that have not done. We will have to read those two areas in the first reading and second reading, but we have not approved those things. So how should we?
We'll do that at the first readings. When we read the budget, we'll read.
But we will have to approve first. In the council meeting, we will have to approve their salaries, both of them, and then do the readings for them too.
Daylene's sharing on the screen right now, the information
So how do we do that?
from
And so I
solid
guess what I'm
waste. I
asking-
mean,
It's in front of us, George.
you review it and look at it and approve it, just like we have everything else.
It's up there.
I mean, normally,
Heather-
whatever
Heather's
Heather
online.
has requested, we normally have approved it. But
That's what we're talking about now.
Right. Right. So then we'll read their budgets at the
That's what-
first
Up there
reading
now.
in September and the second reading in October and approve it.
Their budget is in your council drive,
Yeah.
Okay.
so you can review those, and then at the first reading, the solid waste is a separate issue where you approve theirs separately from the county's
Okay.
budget.
And since,
how-
We will change the recommend on the salaries reflected the same as ours.
how do we do then the visitor center? They need to
Visitor center's
request.
out there for you to look at, but
That's
it's
also there.
all just a part of
Okay.
the.
Yeah.
Fine.
The second reading.
yeah,
Going back to what we were talking about initially was, should we earmark money or just keep it in our back pocket on part of the rainy day fund for the future thing needed that 2 million in? Is it 4 years, 5 years, Todd? I think it was a 5, wasn't it? Our share, because it's 4 million, our share was 2 million.
I'm kind of in favor of earmarking it only because I think there's a large hesitancy of drawing down that rainy day fund, even though that's what it's there for. And if we have it earmarked, there might be a sense of, we've got the money, it's meant for this, we've kind of already.
Then the federal government comes in and gives us free money on something, we can just use for something else.
I would prefer to
I think
earmark
it looks good.
I'd like to earmark it.
I like earmarking it because then we're saying,
George?
yeah, we got it,
consensus on
but
that?
we're doing it.
And then it's a no
Is it,
brainer.
we talking 400,000 in the start?
I do believe that we have to ask the commissioners to set up a separate fund to do so.
Commissioners, would that be a?
I think anytime you can pigeonhole that lip money, different places, you ought to do it, don't you?
Seems reasonable.
And that's just creating a line item so we don't forget it then, right?
And from a public standpoint, it looks good that,
That
yeah, we're
planning.
not just piling up the rainy day fund, we're actually earmarking it for future projects.
And then for the future of whoever's at this table, they know that was
Or a
what it
newbie
was there
comes in.
for. A newbie could come in.
And I say this is what's been going on for 3 years and that's what we've been planning. Instead of telling you we've been talking about it and it's in the rain day,
Right,
And not wanting to spend the rainy day fund.
right.
because we've got other,
Yeah. I think
okay.
it's fiscally
And you've
responsible.
gone through all this.
Yeah.
And is everybody comfortable with what we've done so far? Then we can go to, what are we, with that, switching that million? Is it
Where are
real
we at?
time?
What, yeah, did you do real time?
Before we get to Scott, so we know what number we're at. Carl, you good with everything so far we've been talking about?
Yeah, pretty much.
Was it a harness or something you worried about, or? what?
That item you were just talking about, I mean, if ever you collect lip money from everybody in the county,
Yeah,
the 911 center serves everybody in the county,
Agreed.
city and county residents.
agree.
I think it's, you ought to work it just like you work the jail.
Agree with you,
Okay.
Carl.
I agree.
And I think that is perfectly legitimate.
We all want 911 to pick up the phone.
Yes, we
And
do.
we all want good roads, don't
Yes.
forget that.
No,
No,
truly,
still
that's,
on our- even
that's
though
why,
it's different, it's on our radar.
that's why I'm like, I don't want to cut road funding. That's why I want to make sure that whatever you don't get, you come back and ask
You
for
got
it.
a number up there?
I do. So I took out the extra $1 million so that now
Shows that,
now our budget shows that we are budgeting our expenses less than our revenues.
So we'll be happy.
So we've
Yeah.
got 200,
We took out the full 2 million out of community crossing, Carl, with the knowledge that if the commissioners need it, they just come back and ask for it. You're okay with that?
and then based on that, it would be my recommendation, based on what Scott presented, to do that bottom number adjustment and resubmit your budget.
and adjust appropriately.
Mike has the budget.
And that
for
was
the solid waste.
60,926 or something.
All right. Yeah, almost 61.
I don't know if you could put it up or him or
61.
whatever.
And I'll sharpen that pencil too.
Do it before 1 AM too.
Yes. They're accurate.
We've covered,
Well, he's got the solid waste budget if we wanted to walk through it quickly. Do you have share capabilities?
I'm not signed on, but I can tell you where it is.
Oh,
Okay.
tell me.
2026 budget hearings, budget requests,
Okay,
soil and water.
see it, the PDF.
Yes.
Oh, let me
you're
turn it.
sharing that.
I will, just give me one
All
hot
right.
second. Okay. Oh, what? Okay,
Okay, good.
You're gonna have to make it a little bigger for
yeah,
us.
I am. Hold on.
I can read the bottom line.
First column on the left is the 2023 final, then we have 24's numbers, 25 numbers for budgets, and then 2026 pending proposed. The gist of it is bottom line. It's about a $39,000, $40,000 lower overall budget.
Oh, when you go to the bottom line here,
You go to the bottom line, $5,450,000 versus $5,489,000. Up,
sorry,
right there.
right there.
okay. The highlights of this is they put in a 2%, pay increase, so they'll most
Change
likely
it a little
adjust that to 3. The employer insurance line, I think is a bit strong. But, they're saying that they have the potential, of some people
Real
retiring.
strong.
Pardon?
That's real strong
Yeah.
number.
Yeah, they have a potential of several people retiring, and so they budgeted at full family costs coming back in as a replacement. So yeah, I asked that question at the meeting of, hey, we went from 239 to 255, now at 398, now at 483. That's kind of scary high escalation. I don't know where it is actual for year to date. But they're hedging for the worst on that.
Okay.
Under supplies, you can see that those are pretty much the same, pretty flat. The service and other charges, you can see the out of county tonnage is going up by about 33%. But that was based upon, Rumpke's contractual arrangement, I believe. The other items are pretty minimal. And then the next page, everything's pretty minimal. And then the capital outlay, is where the big difference is. They're looking for some various upgrades for bathrooms, Petersville Road, the old dump, taking care of things out there.
Okay.
Tractor, repairs, but they're also looking for a new track loader, replacement. And I believe the one they have now is better than 10 years old.
Oh, wow.
So it's time.
Yeah.
But on the flip side of that, in 2025, they're opening up a new cell, a new hole, and that's the 1,336,000. That's at the very bottom of the screen there.
Yep.
So that's a one every 6 or 8 years type situation. So that's not gonna be going on for several years. But there's gonna be a little bit of work, so they put in 50,000 for that next year. And then they're starting to save for closure, post-closure, and starting to save for future capital, outlays for tractors and such.
Good.
So they're putting that in. So, yeah, overall, it's.
But the only thing, Mike, that this budget represents a 2% increase rather than 3.
Yes.
So they, and I believe Heather's, I think Heather's is on Zoom. So I don't see anything wrong with her budget, other than she would have to correct normally in the past, they have kept up with our salary increases. So they would have to correct that from a 2 to a 3%. Heather, are you there?
Yep, I am here, George, and we will make that change to our budget. And we will bring that updated with the 3% wage increase for our first
Are you
reading.
okay with it? Is that gonna mess you up?
No, nope, we can make that work.
Heather, do you want to comment on anything that I just went through, or are you okay with most of that?
Yeah, I think that's a fair assessment. Again, no major projects, no landfill cell construction. And then we did establish that non-reverting capital fund, but to date, we haven't funded it. So this will be the start of funding that. We can use that for cell construction. So we're really trying to have more of a flat budget instead of having those huge peaks in years that we have cell construction or cell closure. So helping to, put money away, that way we can end those peaks. But otherwise, I think that's everything.
Awesome. Terrific.
Yeah, either we need to have a motion or have
We
consensus.
can't have any motions.
I'm sorry, we can have consensus on their budget.
Well, we'll read them. I mean, I think we're good with it, but like,
Yeah.
we
we don't need to do anything with the budget
Right.
until we start reading them.
Move on to Scott's. And
Thank you, Heather.
Yep, thank you guys.
Okay.
So where we go next?
I don't have anything on my list of where we need to go
oh, we
next.
did Scott's already, right?
Yeah, we told them to make the adjustment.
So we're doing the IT? Okay.
Pia, have we got anything forgotten or anything on your radar?
Not that I'm aware.
Carl, anything, questions?
I'm not real clear about the IT adjustment.
It was a 69,000.
He's got the number.
61.
He'll get.
Okay, because I didn't see that document.
He'll get, okay.
Could I have an opportunity to maybe meet with the commissioners? to go Over that numbers, and then Pia, can I get those to you? When do you?
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine.
Yeah,
Okay, the only thing I need to, would like to address is that as we've done in the past, was it, I can't remember, was it Pia that, or somebody sent an email to the department heads? Then we gave them a review process if they need anything to, I don't remember how we did it, but it was able to say if we forgot something or didn't do something
make the adjustment by,
before the first reading, and I don't even know if we set a date for the first reading yet.
Yes, we can do that.
Okay,
first reading, I'm assuming September 8th at our
That's
regular.
correct.
September 8th is the first reading.
I mean, for the most part, we left everyone's budgets the same and we increased salaries from what they had budgeted, so everyone should be fine. The only reduction were some of them that you made in the commissioner's budget and that to the youth services center. And I believe that they're on, I believe that I see Carl sitting here, and I believe people in youth services have been online.
And then the hours to effective.
I think the detail on the hours should come from the commissioners.
Yeah,
Yes, that was their proposal that you presented this council and you guys sent an email that we honored your request.
I mean, as to, you know, timing, effective date, things like that, that'd come from the commissioners.
Okay, yeah,
totally.
I mean, it's technically revenue neutral, so.
Yeah,
right.
Carl, when will the hours change? Now or in January?
I'd say 1st January.
1st of January.
If you could, when you do the department heads, express from the council, this is probably, I'm speaking for everyone, that we had some lean times going this year. We appreciate the department heads by coming in with a lean budget. We do have some hard times ahead. We set at 2%. We were able to give them 3, even knowing that we'll maybe face some challenging times in the future. And we appreciate the departments everybody, and we support our employees, and we wanted to reflect that with that additional 1%.
If any of you wanna write that out and have Chat GPT do it, I'll be happy to send it to all employees.
yeah, I'll just talk into my
But I
phone.
think it's so they understand that we went beyond understanding, we support our employees.
Again, if you could,
Okay,
I'll do it, I'll
yeah,
write
you
it,
don't wanna trust me with that.
all right.
I'll write it.
no, and I think it's good for it to come from.
Yeah.
The council.
Yeah,
Yep.
But,
Perfect.
but if you don't have the capability to send it to all employees, I can do so.
I think you got it, don't you?
I think I can figure it out. If not, I know a guy in IT.
Are we in a position
Well,
is everybody comfortable?
I feel comfortable that I can accept the budget as we have talked about as it is, and I have consensus, that we can arrive to consensus to that effect. I don't know how everybody.
I feel good as of today.
Yes. And then we always probably will forget something and catch something, Peter, something in the budget, and then we'll go, oh, yeah, we did that, I forgot to do that. Because there's a lot to cover.
Well, we also have a lot of changes coming that are gonna affect us in the next couple of years.
And while we're here talking about, we got a September 8th meeting, we'll have our regular meeting, first reading. Who's in contact with Reedy and setting up future
Me.
things for us?
They're gonna be at September 8th to give a preliminary results too.
Okay, didn't know where we're at with that.
And just let me know if they need any information from me.
Will do.
Well, congratulations. This has been you know, earth shattering, record breaking, you know. It's almost like, it's almost like we sprinted through it, but I think we,
And Pia,
I think we jumped over all the hurdles.
appreciate you having your staff here to be able to help us and lead us through those numbers, and you giving us instant numbers every morning. That helped.
Yes,
Oh, that makes a big difference.
Yeah, that made it move quicker.
And for departments that didn't have any change other than recommended by us, I think that was smart to not have them parade through here, time for them, and not that they don't love coming to see us, but.
I'm sure they love coming to see us.
He'll talk to us real fast stuff.
Yeah,
All right, with that, let's shut her down.
perfect.
I make a motion that we close the
Do we
meeting.
need to